Is this? Anyway, I'm sorry. I should pay attention, right? See, you messed up by bringing me this. All your time is gonna be taken with me digging through this bag. Baldwin inspires me as a young black man growing up in America. I look to James Baldwin as someone who grew up in the same way as me, or at least a very similar way, and he found a way to take the energy of his experience and channel it into art. I think that is extremely inspiring. Even if the work wasn't very good, just the act of him doing it would be inspiring. Fortunately, the work is damn legendary, and so that makes it even more both inspiring and humbling at the same time. When I first read Beale Street, it was sent to me by a friend with the suggestion that I make a film of it, and so I read it very skeptically, to be honest, because people do that quite often, and yet I was completely moved by how pure the romance between Tish and Fonnie was, how deeply their families cared for them, and also impressed at how, without diminishing that love story, that family, Mr. Baldwin also found a way to speak about some very real things about systemic injustice, and mass incarceration. Have they? Hey, yes. I think that we're living in a cultural moment right now that Mr. Baldwin was very keen to speak towards. I think the irony and the sadness in that is that he's been passed away for at least 30 years now, and yet so much of what he wrote is still very relevant. I think that shows a lack of progress, despite some of the progress we have made. And I think that people are looking to Baldwin now to shine a light, on the lives that we're living in the present moment. It is the novel that I saw myself in most directly, and also too the blend of the two Baldwinian voices. The one voice that was obsessed with romance and interpersonal relationships, and the other voice that was as obsessed with pointing out the very real ways in which these systems we live under can disenfranchise the lives and souls of black folk. Just that combination of the two made this novel stand out for me as opposed to the others. My favorite Baldwin novel is Giovanni's Room, and I think in a certain way, between Giovanni's Room and The Fire Next Time, which were the first two novels by Baldwin I read, maybe I've already channeled that energy into Moonlight, and so I don't know that I'll ever get to adapt my favorite novel by James Baldwin, but also too, I think from an ego standpoint, I think this is the appropriate novel of Mr. Baldwin for me to adapt. I would love to see someone else with a voice that maybe aligns more directly with his and the characters in that book adapt Giovanni's Room in the future. I'll produce it though. I am, and I remember when I was here last, I went to this bookstore and they had this whole row of the Penguin classics, and the covers are amazing. And I just grabbed like 2 or 3 of them that I haven't quite read yet, but I bought them because of the covers, and I will read them at some point. Other writers who inspire me are Marilynne Robinson. Gilead is probably my favorite novel. I've read it at least 7 times at this point. Colson Whitehead, obviously, who I'm adapting The Underground Railroad into a series at Amazon right now. Zora Neale Hurston, the first film I ever worked on as a professional was Their Eyes Were Watching God. I think there are just so many amazing writers who are putting great work into the world and whose work we were discovering. And I think right now we live in a time where we watch more than we read. And so I hope that this adaptation of A Beale Street Could Talk will bring more people to the page to read Mr. Baldwin's work. The thing I'm most excited about reading right now is his book by Jack Whitten. It's a collection of his journals that I think, as a young black artist, right now may be really solidifying what I want out of my career. I keep looking to these other black artists from the past and the tomes they've left behind to hopefully illuminate the pathway forward.